everybody. It's Lorraine.
And Jennifer.
And this morning, we're going to talk about your addiction problems.
I, Jennifer Denny, am addicted to marketing.
Hi, I'm Lorraine. I'm a marketing addict. And, and we can laugh about it, but the reality is that good marketing does become addictive. You get into this place where you try something and it works, and then you do more, and then you do more. And sometimes that doesn't work so well.
Yeah, you start chasing these metrics and it just gets really exciting, but sometimes you're wondering, are the metrics that I'm chasing the right metrics?
Absolutely. And the other, I'm getting all of this reach. And it feels good. I have all these fans and it feels good. But the question is that high healthy for your business? And the other thing is that sometimes you get into this loop. You start doing something and it works really well and it drives business, but you notice it starts to fall off. So you spend a little bit more money or a little bit more time and effort to boost it back up. And without realizing it, you're in this cycle of you're not getting as good a result, but you're just spending more. It's kind of like you're a drug addict and you're building up a tolerance. And it's because the algorithm is changing or just more people are doing it.
Well, you hit it right there with you're just doing just too much of it. And so I think of words like blindness to it.
Mhm.
If you're doing so much of something, it's not attracting people because it's not different. And that's what really attracts people. I'm like, oh, that's different. It's like when we're talking to people about social media graphics and things that you're using to feed. If you've been using the same thing over and over, it starts to become blindness and it's not working anymore. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as you're looking at what you're doing and what's working in marketing, how do you avoid some of the symptoms of marketing addiction?
so I can give like a scenario right now where, in organic social media, and I've never been up to, a year before really that interested in organic social media, but I really started getting interested into it and getting into reach and reels came about. And I'm addicted to the reach that you get
Mhm.
with reels, but from a business perspective, I have to step back and look at the amount of time that it takes to create these reels and quote unquote regular post. And should I be doing both? If I go all in with reels, like, is that really a good idea? It might be a real good high right now, but is that going to be good for the long term?
Absolutely. And I think if you're smart, you have to manage your addiction. And there's also a little bit of the dance with what brung you. I think everything is going to come and go. This will be hot, that'll be hot. But the content that you put on your website, your blog posts, that core content that you keep adding to that demonstrates your expertise will always be there in the long run. Different platforms are hot. And so I think, maybe you have to figure out how to marry the two. I also think that we have to figure out how to reuse some of this video content. Yeah, it's easy, but it still takes time. If you're just getting on the video and shooting and walking away, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes. But if you're doing it for your business, that's not how you do it.
Yeah, so if you said something right there. If you're going to get addicted to anything in marketing, get addicted to creating content.
Mhm.
And creating content that takes somebody through the I don't know who you are to the buying cycles of buying it. And I definitely think written gotta have that. And
Mhm.
everything else plays off of that.
And you know what I've started doing lately to kind of help manage this addiction? Because I've done the podcast forever and ever and ever, right?
Yeah.
And I've written blog posts forever and ever and ever. And now suddenly there's video, and I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
Well, but instead of making myself crazy, I'm doing a couple of things. Number one, I'm going back and shooting short videos that connect back to a longer podcast, that connect back to an existing blog post. And so when I post the short, my new addiction is YouTube Shorts. When I post the short on YouTube, it still has hyperlinks to that other content.
So you're managing the addiction by, like, yes, there is this new type of marketing, but at the heart of it, I already have that piece of content. I'm just putting it in a different format.
Absolutely. So I don't have to think through what am I going to say next. I already know that. And then the other thing I'm doing now is, and it's so much easier with the technology now, where we're shooting this, I can, if I want, I turn part of it into a little short.
Right.
When I record my podcast interviews, I get a transcript. And so and it automatically generates. And so now I have 2/3 of the way to the written content.
It's about being efficient. We're on Restream. So, when going live was popular, and I still think it's popular, we're going live to multiple channels, not trying to do each individual channel. Now, I know there's some people out there, Gary Vaynerchuk will say that you need to create unique content for every channel. Well, Gary Vaynerchuk also has huge, huge teams of people to do all of this. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what I do though is, we go live on all the channels, but then the snippets, I can do different kinds of snippets, different looks and feels for different channels. And something really simple that I just started doing, I had created these graphics with kind of these, cute quotes, whatever. I have a whole bunch of them, and they've got a blue background. Guess what? I just recreated. I didn't even have to recreate. I just went in to the Illustrator file, changed the background color, and they're all red now.
Yeah. So that's just the difference.
And it just it breaks, like you said, when you're addicted, you've got that kind of blindness going on. So a different pop of color, a new background graphic, a little bit different styling, but it's the same content.
I think about the addiction too when it comes to new channels coming about. We've done our own share of hopping from channel to channel, and looking back now, it's like, do I think you should create a TikTok channel? Yes. But if you have existing channels now, they've molded and now adapted, and they've saw it. It's back to the Clubhouse. Now there's audio rooms all in the existing. What was the hardest thing to do there? Create your audience. So recreating your audience over on these other channels is difficult, and yet another place to manage. It's almost like we should wait a little bit and be like, okay, are the other platforms going to pick this up so I don't have to recreate the wheel?
Absolutely. And I think that's a really good point, is the addiction, the thrill-seeking part of us to always being on the newest channel, and maybe ignoring the girl who brought you to the dance. For me right now, LinkedIn is my most productive channel. That's where people are reaching out to me for consulting gigs, for speaking gigs. I'm still on all of these other channels, but LinkedIn is what's getting my attention. And right now, the one other one that I'm like, okay, let's see where it goes, is YouTube, because I'm also getting really good response, not to my longer videos. Nobody watches the longer videos. Everybody loves my shorts.
Yep.
Don't worry, folks. We are not going to change the Friday morning live chat from a 10-ish minute show to a 1-minute short, but do look for the shorts
reel that will come out of the short. Yeah. There
Yeah,
is the longer topic and discussing it in great lengths, and then there's chopping it up so that you can almost get your readers addicted with just a little bit of information, a little bit of information, and then they want to see the whole thing.
absolutely. You know, Seth Godin did that with one of his books. He released the whole book a chapter at a time. You could read it for free, and his editor was like beside himself that Seth Godin was doing this. But you know what? When the book was published, all those people that had read a chapter here and a chapter there bought the book.
Because they were
Even
obsessed with it.
even though the whole book was out there if you looked for it.
He created an addiction by giving a little bit at a time until you wanted the whole thing.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to leave you here. Hopefully, you're addicted to these Friday morning chats. We'll be back next week with another conversation.
Yeah, and if you want to learn more about how to do marketing yourself, certainly go to digitaltoolbox.club. Yeah.
And be sure if you are looking to maybe have someone else help you with the ins and outs of marketing, check out elevatedmarketing.solutions.
Bye.
Bye now.